Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cobra Corner, and in this video it will be my review of Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1. Overall, it's been a strong start to the season. There have been some interesting paths for some of our characters, and I think it does set up nicely for Part 2. One thing I will say is, I'm not a fan of doing the season in 3 different formats. I'm not sure if that's something anyone at the show had control over, but I think it's something that could affect the rhythm of the show. Of course, we'll start on the revelations of Mr. Miyagi having a potential criminal past, as well as maybe even fighting in the Sakai Takai. It will be a huge shock for all of us, and one we all can't wait to explore in the next 2 remaining parts of Season 6. And I will say, fair play to the writers of the Cobra Kai to risk potentially painting the greatest man the franchise has ever seen as a criminal. It takes guts, but I think they've gone about it in the right way, and I'm sure there's another side to the story of Miyagi being a violent thief. There's so many characters this season with their own story, and ultimately their character arcs will all be complete once the show finishes, if not for the possibility of spin-offs. Tori and Kenny are 2 compelling characters so far this season for who I'm most excited to look out for going into parts 2 and 3. Peyton List has been exceptional in portraying Tori, especially in episode 6 where Tori loses her mother. The acting on display was incredible and really made you feel for Tori. Despite objections to Tori going back to Cobra Kai and feeling like there could even be regression for her character who has done so much to put her past behind her with the likes of Sam, the death of Tori's mother makes you understand her decision to go back to Kreese, someone who she can relate to, as he also lost his mother at a young age. You can see in her facial expression that she is almost guilty to be rejoining Cobra Kai at the end of episode 5, but she feels it is necessary for her best possible outcome of winning the Sakai Takai and cementing her legacy. As for Kenny, we have seen him go from the man who earned Cobra Kai their spot in the Sakai Takai to not even being selected to go due to some foul play on Devon Lee's part. I'm interested to see what happens with Kenny in the remainder of the season, how he addresses the incident with Lee, and how he finds out that it wasn't Anthony LaRusso who cheated him out of his spot in the Sakai Takai. I mean, we might even see Kenny in the Sakai Takai representing Cobra Kai, or even Terry Silver. After all, he was Terry Silver's protege. One thing I have loved this season is how Kyler and Brooks, 2 characters who seem like they never leave their bullying way of life, 2 characters who never seem to have any development like we have seen so many other characters have, to see them move on and progress with their lives is refreshing. Honestly, within 10 minutes of watching, Kyler and Brooks became very likeable characters, and it was great to see. It might even be my favourite thing from part 1. I would love to see a Kyler and Brooks spin-off with them scrapping at loads of frat parties. One thing this season that I'm not really sure of is the resurgence of Daniel and Johnny's bickering. To be honest, it's something that's going to happen. They are 2 completely different people, but I thought we were past the LaRusso-Lawrence rivalry. I'm sure they'll patch things up before the end of the series though. Kreese and Kim Da-eun reuniting was expected, and I'm interested to see what will come of our alliance, especially Master Kim's South Korean students, especially Kwon, who is an absolute beast, and looks like, honestly, the favourite to win the Sakai Takai. I honestly can't see how he loses. He is a threat that none of our favourite Miyagi-Fang students have ever seen before. It feels like a 50-50 split on which dojo will win, which I think isn't something that we've seen before. You always expect those on the sides of LaRusso or Lawrence to prevail. And the fighting in season 6 so far, all the fights have been really great. I enjoyed the frat party fight. I love getting to see Lawrence versus Barnes finally, as well as Daniel Chosen and Lawrence having a not so serious triple threat match. I hope we get to see Barnes versus either Kreese or Silver in the remainder of the season. I think there is unfinished business with Mike Barnes in this series. He seems to have got the itch for karate again, and how will that transpire with parts 2 and 3 of season 6? Another thing that's been going on in the season is there seems to be some tension between Hawk and Dimitri, with Hawk deciding not to pursue MIT for the time being. Dimitri even took his spot to go to the Sakai Takai, despite not even being too bothered about going a few days prior, and it is obvious that Hawk wanted it more. However, Hawk still earned his chance to go to Barcelona after Tori's omission. Another thing that I'm not too sure about at this moment in time is Chosen being seen searching for flights to Okinawa and then just disappearing without any trace. I know it's going to be assumed that he flew back there anyway, but there was no mention of it from any characters or anything. We can see from leaks / clips that Chosen does indeed show up at the Sakataka though. Miguel and Robbie are inevitably going to butt heads during the Sakataka at some point. What it will be over is yet to be discovered, but it is likely they'll either get matched against each other in a match that would be the highest stakes either of them have ever fought under. It is also likely Robbie could very well give up his captaincy to Miguel due to the conflict in his mind from seeing his girlfriend defect back to Cobra Kai, despite their promise that they would stick together no matter what. It seems unless they shuffle things around and maybe the end of episode 5 was a time jump to the Sakai Takai, and part 2 is a bit more of a flashback to the build up to the Sakai Takai. It seems that the Sakai Takai will be part 2's main story, and it will not be in the finale. This is a welcome surprise for me, as I'm sure most of us thought that the Sakai Takai would be at the end of the season. But it does feel like the Sakai Takai isn't the big ending, that there's potentially even bigger things to come when part 3 drops in 2025, which is really exciting because honestly, I thought the Sakai Takai was like the biggest thing you could get, but if it's only going in part 2, then that means there's something even bigger that we don't even know of yet, so I'm really excited to see what happens with that. And I think that concludes my video. I've covered everything. On the whole, season 6 has really made a good start to what will be the final season of Cobra Kai, and I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Remember, just like Chris said, the real story has only just begun, and there's much more to come for the season, so it's promising that it started with a bang. I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I'll see you on the next one.